Just a few miles away in South Portland, you'll find a small blacksmithing shop. But this small shop is making big waves in the axe-making industry.
My name's Steve Ferguson. I'm one of the co-owners of Brant Cochran.
And I'm Barry Worthy, and I'm one of the other co-owners of Brant Cochran. And we make axes here in South Portland, Maine, specializing in a Maine wedge pattern axe, which is unlike any other axe made in the world today.
Well, I'm sure axe making started in Maine as soon as people began to inhabit Maine. That's how, buildings were built and roads were, logged and cleared. And so axe making goes back as far as the history of the state of Maine. Axe making probably stopped in Maine and most everywhere in the United States with the advent of the chainsaw. When that came in, axes were not needed as much. How we started was I went to get my godson an axe for forestry school, and I went to look for one and I couldn't find an American-made axe. I ended up buying a Swedish axe for my godson, and my brother had just kind of sold a software company recent to our starting, and I said, hey, we should really start an axe business. I think there'd be a market for axes if we got into this, this business. So.
Right, and so, the best way to start a business is to know absolutely nothing about what you're doing. Because as a nurse, as a school psychologist, I don't make axes. We started with restoration. We worked in a shared maker space in Portland, and we started with restoration of old axes to sell and restoration of axes for customers as we got people on board and worked with partners around the state, blacksmiths and other manufacturers to kind of figure out what's the best way we can do this, and that's kind of really the impetus and how it started.
Well, we make a Maine wedge pattern, which is a very unique axe to the state of Maine. Has a very thick pole, which is the end of the axe, and just a very angular kind of profile.
See, it's just like a big triangle, right? It's just a wedge, literally.
Yeah.
There's nothing else fancy about it.
Love it. Simple as smart.
And we make the Allagash Cruiser, which is our kind of interpretation of a Maine wedge.
Wow.
Which is very similar. This is a 2.25, 2.5 pound axe. The one that Barry was just showing is probably originally like a 3.5 pound, which is a felling axe. This is more of kind of a cruiser boy's axe. All right, Sydney, let me have you meet Keegan Whitford. This is our head blacksmith. They go by Keg.
Hey, Keg, how are you?
You'll be in good hands with Keg and may even do part of the process.
And then you just pull down. There you go. All right, come up. And then there you go. And that's the 50-ton press, our loudest machine.
That's the most perfect axe you've ever made, I'm sure.
Our block is heated back up, and we're ready for the next step. I'm gonna be doing the rough profiling, so I'm gonna take it onto this press, establish that curve that you get at the very bottom of the axe. So it's right there.
Look at that color.
Yeah, it's great. Something you never really get over. Like, I love it. I always want to eat it. It's a weird thing.
It really looks edible.
Yeah, totally.
Do not eat that at home, kids.
Don't eat it.
So currently we're making about 25 to upwards of 30 a week. And we have this new process that's getting put together, and we're working with the University of Maine, the Manufacturers Extension Partnership, because right now we're 22 weeks behind on orders. So if you order one today, you get it in 20 or 22 weeks, and that's frustrating for us. And we need to really make about 60 to 70 a week, and that's what this new process kind of promises for us. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes in a gas forge to heat the metal up to a squishable temperature in a 25 or 50-ton press. This new induction forge will do it in 180 seconds.
Thank you so much for showing me.
Yeah, of course.
Super impressive, and the product is just stunning.
Sweet, thank you.
Everyone could use a Maine and Maine axe.
It's true, it's true.